Hi, I'm Laura and welcome to Heart DrivenTarot, where you receive intuitive answers from the tarot to your burning questions about life. This week we are continuing, or I am continuing, a series of videos in which I do tarot readings that are inspired by people in history, both well-known and not so well-known. I thought I'd like to continue this. I did do some last year, including the one about Frida Kahlo. I had done something about Julia Child in the past, Madam C.J. Walker, and the like. And so I'd like to continue this at least twice a month to do an inspirational tarot reading that is based on, or that taps into, the energy of this particular historical figure so that we can lead a better life, a more inspired life, a life of greater joy, zeal, and passion. That's my purpose with these particular videos and readings. Today, our source of inspiration is the famous female pilot, Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart was born July 24th, 1897. July 24th was the same date as my grandmother's birthday, although a different year. And she died in, I forget the exact date, but in 1937, when her plane was lost over the Pacific. And that's a mystery that so far has not been really solved. There's all kinds of speculations about how her plane crashed, etc. And the book recommendation I read growing up, when I was a girl and a teenager, I read a number of books about Amelia Earhart, and I think I have read biographies, not recently, at least 10, 15 years ago, but one that I'm going to put in the show notes is called, I think it's a biography of Amelia Earhart by Doris. Recommend that book. It looks like it's very well done. And the song associated with this week's reading is Learning to Fly by Tom Petty, because of course Amelia Earhart was a pilot. And in fact, that's what we're going to look at today. Well, she was a pilot. She was one of the first female pilots, if not the first, not sure of that, but she was a famous female pilot. She was a champion of women's rights. She was an independent woman. She was a crusader for commercial air travel. So we can really thank her for a lot of the progress made in commercial air travel. And some statements that she made in her lifetime, which were many, but two that struck me as being especially good to share with you today were, the first one, when a great adventure is offered, you don't refuse it. And secondly, there's more to life than being a passenger. So that is especially important. There's more to life than being a passenger, that's for sure. We all need to be the pilots of our own lives. So today, let's discover how we can, first card, create a greater sense of adventure in our lives. Card number 2, what particular solo actions or solo activities or things that we can do on our own that would really strengthen us, give us more zeal and more mojo in our lives. And then finally, is there an area of accomplishment that we can focus on in the next few weeks or month? So those 3 areas, how can we create a greater sense of adventure? As Amelia Earhart epitomized that, we'll tap into her energy and inspiration. What solo activity are we especially skilled in, or that we need to make a greater foray into, and what can we accomplish in the next few weeks, months, and months. So I'm going to put down the cards. I will show you these as I turn them over. They're facing me. And I'm using, the deck I'm using is the Barbara Moore Classic Tarot deck. It's based on the Rider-Waite deck. The first card, sense of adventure. Wow, this card pops up. What area can we cultivate a greater sense of adventure in the tarot card? And I'll explain this in just a moment. The Tower card, Major Arcana card, and this, you see that lightning is striking particularly vividly, strongly. Second card, solo action that we might need to take, make a greater foray into, is the Ten of Coins or Ten of Pentacles. And then finally, accomplishment. What area can we cultivate a greater sense of accomplishment? All right, let's take a look at this. What area in which can we create greater sense of adventure? The Tower card. Well, if we're tapping into the spirit and energy of Amelia Earhart, in a way this makes sense, because she basically up-leveled kind of by being a champion for women's rights and by doing something that very few other women were doing at the time. And there are not that many women pilots now, although I did hear about one last week. I think she was from Norway. She was only 19 years old, and she went all across the world in her little plane during the past year. And that made me think of Amelia Earhart. The Tower card, because it's a major arcana card, means it has special import. It's a spiritual lesson. And for us to be able to cultivate and to create a greater sense of adventure, we need to be willing to toss out old structures, to just give the heave-ho to things that no longer serve us, to just kind of let go. And we see here these two individuals are being hurled out of this tower. And that suggests to me that we need to take a close look at areas that no longer serve us. We need to toss them out and really think about completely changing our foundation in a particular area. If we want more adventure, we're going to have to, I hate to use this cliche term, get out of our comfort zone, go into a completely new realm, a new area that we had not dared to delve in previously. And that's what the Tower implies. It's suggesting, uproot and do something new. And this is definitely what Amelia Earhart did, because she went across the Atlantic on her own, the first female to do that solo. So that was completely shaking things up. I mean, there's still not that many women pilots. And back in the 1920s and 30s, I mean, that was she truly had to have a sense of adventure and courage to be able to do that. So she was willing to basically hurl away and get rid of the old structures or the old confinements. And she felt that a woman should be able to do the same things as a man could do. So that's the Tower card suggesting, want more adventure? Be willing to completely shake up your foundation. Like that song, Boom Boom Pow from the Black Eyed Peas. It's just like be willing just to get rid of the old structures and ways of doing things in your life. The second card, solo action. This is interesting because it's what we see here is a family, and it's a 10 of Pentacles or 10 of Coins. And typically this card is associated with legacy, establishing a legacy in your family, and often people associated with inheritance. But if we're talking about the energy and the spirit of Amelia Earhart, and what you can do the solo that maybe only you can do, is just give some thought this week on the type of activities and ways of being and your thought and your belief system that you feel you are especially gifted in, that perhaps you need to spend more time on, so that this will be your mark on, and this legacy, your legacy in the world and on your family in particular. Something that you do that's especially well. Hone those skills, and as you're doing, and be motivated by the idea that you're going to leave this as a legacy for your family, as something that once you are gone, once we're gone, this is going to stay with them, that you were this type of individual, that you had developed this particular expertise, but with the idea that it came from something from your heart that touched them. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm sensing from this 10 of Pentacles. That this week, solo action, dedicate some time to think about what this would be and what you want to be remembered for from the heart. And then finally, accomplishment. What area? Well, we have the Hermit. And so we've got another major arcana card that means especially spiritual importance, spiritual significance. And the Hermit, of course, is someone in the particular image we have here. He's up on a cliff, so he's got that elevated stance, meaning he has the ability as a good vantage point to look at, have a panoramic view of what's below, the countryside or whatever he's looking at, the valley below him, and shine a light on it. And so I would feel that what we can gather and what we can get from the energy of Amelia Earhart is thinking about what we can shine a light on. I mean, she's shown, her light was presenting to women what they would be capable, that they could be capable of doing. That she, because she was such a trailblazer and doing something and going into the man's world where very few women had gone, she was able to break ground in that area. And so I feel that the Hermit is suggesting this week your area of focus should be what you can accomplish yourself and where you have that special expertise that shines a light, that illuminates the way for others in your workplace, in your family, etc., where you can operate from great power and be an inspiration to others. This seems to be, because we talked about Amelia Earhart and getting energy and inspiration from her, seems to be a strong reading in that we've got two major arcana cards bookending the reading. And then the idea of legacy. I mean, Amelia Earhart definitely, I don't think she didn't have any children, I don't believe, left a legacy. I mean, she definitely is a figure that has been revered over the years. Granted, that her mysterious disappearance contributed to that, but also it's just her whole persona, how she was motivated and able to move into areas that especially women had never moved into previously. I hope this reading has been helpful for you. If you've not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And until next time, remember, illumine your mind, inspire your life with tarot.